Hello. Welcome back to Christi's Couch. My name is Christi Lukasiak, and you are hanging out on my couch. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to old, welcome new. So happy to have you here. You guys, I'm so excited because every morning when I get up and I check like everything I need to check in the morning, I've been checking out. How many times can I say check? But I've been checking out all of the podcast reviews and reading them and looking at the 5-star ratings. You guys are so nice. The things that I've read are just the sweetest. So thanks for hanging out and listening. You have no idea. I really do read everything that's on there. So if you've taken the time to read a review, I absolutely have read it. So thank you. Yeah. And listen, if you haven't taken a second to rate, review, or subscribe to the podcast, please just pop over. It takes like 13 milliseconds to do. And it just helps me rate and rank or whatever so that other people can find the podcast. And it really does mean a lot. Plus, I'm reading them. So it's all such a fun thing. Okay, so let's see what is happening in our world. I feel like every week I make a list of things I want to chat with you guys about. And then I'm always like, oh, the weather. Like, how boring can I be? I mean, honestly, I was sitting here thinking today, you know, because it's almost Mother's Day, and I was thinking about where we were last year, and dare I say that I miss like lockdown a little bit. Now, hear me out. I know it was terrible for all of a million people all around the world, billions of people. I know. But what I mean is I miss that time where my family was forced to hang out with me, and no one felt this sense of, oh, I can't be here. I have to go do something else. Like, I miss that family togetherness. And while it was really hard at times, like now looking back, it was such a gift, especially because Chloe had left for college and she came home. Like, I miss my daughter. Like, I really do. I miss Chloe so much. And it's really just been hitting me this week. So I hate to be like, oh, I miss lockdown. But like in that way, I miss it. Like, I just miss all of my family being under one roof and kind of hanging out together. So yeah, it's just, I don't know. That's just my little thought for the day. But you know, there's been tons happening in our lives. We're getting to the end of the school year with Clara. I think she has like 30 days left. And I know that Mark is going to head back to work soon, which will be like a weird adjustment. You know, I think one thing that we all have learned during COVID is that you definitely can work from home and you can be just as effective, if not more effective than just freaking sitting at home because you're not commuting. So this will be like a weird shift and change, especially, I don't know, just because it's been so long since I've been alone in the house or that Clara and I have just been together. So we'll see how we do, you know, especially because she's in 6th grade. And I don't know if you know this, but 6th graders historically don't like their mothers, especially if they have a TikTok. So I'm kind of like Clara's public enemy number one, but I'm also someone that she likes. So we'll see. We'll totally see how this goes. But you know, I just did, so I did like a sponsored deal on my Instagram with, Clear. This is not sponsored here or anything, but I just, you know, like this just reminded me how much the world is opening up. So Clear is like a service that you use at the airport. It just helps expedite you through security. But they are doing something called Health Pass by Clear. And the Health Pass is basically you just download the Clear app and it is an electronic or a digital record of your vaccination. So if you're getting vaccinated, then instead of carrying that little card around, you have your Health Pass. And it's all digital. It's all on your phone. So you can use it. And I know they're partnering with different sporting events and different retailers so that, you know, if places are requiring you to be vaccinated, it's just an easy way to help open up that world more. And as I was going through all this content and looking at it, I was just thinking like, it is going to feel so incredibly weird to be back in, say, like a sporting event or a concert or anything even remotely crowded. I was watching The Sopranos, Mark and I. So we've been rewatching Sopranos and we're now on season 3, which I have some thoughts I want to share about that in a minute. But there is a scene where they're sitting in a doctor's office and the stranger comes over and sits down next to one of the characters. And it caused me to actually have like a panic attack. I'm like, that's not 6 feet. And I'm not even like hyper vigilant about all of the COVID rules. I clearly distance. I wear a mask and all of that. And like, but if someone passes me in the grocery store and they're not 6 feet apart, I don't have a major meltdown. But I would never sit next to someone now. And it's just so weird how we're so programmed at this point. So when I was watching that, I was like, and I thought to myself, you know, the first time I'm sitting somewhere in public and someone comes and sits next to me, I probably will like slither out of the seat and like crawl away like a cartoon character, you know, like, and like, you know how they would crawl on their fingers and toes. A lot of you probably didn't watch Saturday morning cartoons, did you? All right, if you watch Saturday morning cartoons, then you are of my era. Hi, Smurfs. Hi, Gargamel. Worst villain of all time. But anyway, so it's a weird world, and I am so excited to get back to it. But then there is a part of me that's like, oh, I'm going to miss some of the small gifts that COVID did give us. So God, look at Christi being philosophical and looking at the bright side of things. That's not me. I'm usually a half full kind of girl, but Chloe has taught me how to be a little bit more of an optimist. So like I said, Mark and I have been rewatching Sopranos, which, look, if you've never watched Sopranos, or Sopranos, depending on how you want to pronounce it, you need to go back and watch it. It's on HBO Max. It was like a show in the late 90s, early 2000s that was like the show. It's still rated as, if not the best, but one of the top 2 shows of all time. It is insane. It like just insanely good, and it holds up. But there are references in that show that are so outdated that you're like, wait, what? And then you have to keep reminding yourself like, oh, this is the 90s. Like they made a reference to the World Trade Center. And I was like, I stopped for a minute and I was like, wait, are they talking about 9/11? And I was like, oh my God, 9/11 hadn't even happened yet. So it's just weird. But, oh my God. So watching it, I have like a new appreciation for good acting. I've always appreciated a good actor, actress, or what have you. But going back now, just going through like knowing more about, I don't know, the industry, if you will. Now I go back and I watch James Gandolfini in that role, and he is so freaking good as an anti-hero. Like, I cannot believe how good he is as Tony. And then you have the gift that is Edie Falco as Carmela. And she is so Jersey, but she kicks his ass and keeps him in line. And she's the only person who can get away with the garbage that she gets away with him. Yeah, he still cheats and all of that, but still Carmela like gives it good. And it's just so fun to watch those two act. And I know there's like a big episode coming up where they both won, I think, Golden Globes or Emmys for it, both for the acting in the same scene or the same episode. And I think there is a scene in that episode that everyone talks about being like the most stellar acting ever. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, man, they're not afraid to fucking kill a friend on that show, are they? I mean, I just watch it. I'm like, oh, I forgot about all of this. So yeah, The Sopranos, it's a good one, but look, if me just swearing offended you, don't watch it because the whole thing is nothing but offensive behavior. Okay. What would you say is the hardest part of cooking and eating well? Would you say it is figuring out, I don't know, what recipe to make? Or could it be the grocery shopping? Or would you say the prep work? Because for me, I would choose all three because I hate all three of those. I feel like I spend so much time prepping for a meal that's over in like 15 minutes. So you can imagine how excited I am to tell you about Green Chef because Green Chef helps to eliminate a lot of that prep work that I hate to do. Plus, it's delicious. Green Chef is also the first USDA certified organic meal kit company, so you can enjoy clean ingredients that are trustworthy, seasonally sourced for peak freshness. Plus, ingredients come pre-measured, perfectly portioned, and mostly prepped, so you can spend less time stressing and more time actually enjoying that delicious home-cooked meal. And Green Chef makes eating well easy and affordable with plans to fit every lifestyle. So whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, vegetarian, or just looking to eat healthier, I don't know, there's a range of recipes to suit any diet or preference. And Green Chef is the first ever keto meal kit on the market. So it makes sticking to a low-carb lifestyle easy with recipes averaging only 14 net carbs each. Okay, so again, like I said, it's all of that prep work. And it's like the other thing that really drives me crazy about cooking is, let's say I have a recipe that calls for, I don't know, like an herb. And then I have to buy this whole thing of maybe parsley or chives. And then I end up wasting so much of it because I needed like a thimble full of it. Well, one of the things about Green Chef is that you're just getting exactly the amount of ingredients you need. So there's less waste. And I also have to say, I'm not very adventurous when it comes to eating and like thinking about different flavors together. And I am always blown away at how delicious the recipes are, because I'm like, I would have never thought of that. So it makes me seem like a gourmet chef to my family, which, hi, I love any kind of compliment, right? So if you want to try Green Chef, go to greenchef.com/couch and use the code 90couch to get $90 off, including free shipping. That's greenchef.com/90couch and use code 90couch to get $90 off, including free shipping. Green Chef, it's the #1 meal kit for eating well. Sopranos, watching that, eating better, trying to think what else. Weather's getting better. Claire's finishing up a school. Mark's going back to work. I miss Chloe. This is kind of exciting. So I know I've talked before that I do Amazon Lives, which if you don't know Amazon Live, again, you need to check it out because it's really cool. It's like live streaming, kind of like old school QVC or home shopping, but it's done like streaming, but it's influencers online talking about like their favorite Amazon products. I know that some of the housewives have been doing it. I know J-Lo did it. It's a really cool platform. And I actually was asked to be one of the headliners. Every month they do a beauty hall live, and I am one of the headliners on Tuesday, April 27th. I am at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So jump on Amazon Live. I'll link it in the show notes. I would love to have you join me. You can jump on. It's like an open chat where you can, send messages, and I talk to everybody as I'm talking about the product. So it's not just like, I'm like, buy this cat toy, like I'm talking about it, but there's an open chat going on. So I'm answering questions, like pour yourself a glass of wine. It's a really fun thing. So if you're around on Tuesday, the 27th at 8 p.m., click the link in the show notes and join me. Like, mark it on your calendar. I would love to have you hang out. And then you can be like, hi, I listened to Christy's Couch. And I'll be like, oh my God, you listened to Christy's Couch. Wow, it's a small world. So yeah. Okay. Well, in the light of the fact that, I've been talking about COVID and going back into the world and all of the things that we missed doing so much, I thought it would be really fun to bring back on one of my favorite guests, and that's Veronique. And when Veronique was on last time, she was the person who we talked all about, like the social media behind the scenes, like intel about influencers. But this time I thought it would be fun to bring V on because she tends to travel like I do. And what I mean by that is when I'm going somewhere, like I kind of find cool places and off the beaten path, like things and activities, and just, I don't know, I find cool things for my family to do. And I like learn history and I teach them about places when we go. And V does kind of the same thing with her kids. And so, or even her. I mean, because I do the same thing whether my kids are with me or not. It's just like, if I go somewhere, I want to know the cool things about the place. And so she and I had this amazing conversation where we're sharing some really fun stories, but also some of our favorite hacks on how we find these things and some of our best tips. So, and even if you're not ready to travel yet, I think there's enough like interesting storytelling during our conversation to keep you on the edge of your seat, because we're totally the two people who are like, did you know? Did you know this? Did you know that? So it's kind of fun. And we're like a vast vat of plethora, if you will, of useless information, both of us. So let's get into that conversation because it was really a fun one. So let's welcome V to the couch. Oh, well, look who's back on the couch. If it isn't Veronique. Hello, my darling.
Oh, it's me. How are you?
Well, oh my God, I didn't even tell you. So I got my first COVID vaccination yesterday.
Ooh, mazel tov.
Mazel tov. Well, I'm very happy to have it. I still have to get the second one, but I have a killer headache.
I don't do headaches.
I know you don't. And so I'm like,
I don't.
Ugh. Like I've been struggling all day. I actually laid down in the middle of the afternoon, which is like blasphemous for me because my love language is workaholicism. So I don't lay down in the middle of the afternoon, and I lay down because my brain is on fire. So
you got to tap out. You got to recognize those symptoms, accept them, and tap out. Are you ready for V's quick 3 things you must have when you have a headache?
Yeah, go. Because you are a migraine sufferer. Like serious.
I do. Yeah.
Like let's be very clear to the listeners. Like your migraines are unlike anything I've ever seen.
This is an after school special. It just turned into.
Yeah.
This is your brain on migraines. Number 1, an ice hat. You can get them on Amazon. Keep them in the fridge, freezer. You put it on when you have a headache. Amazing.
Really? That sounds like it would annoy me.
No, it is awesome. Number 2, I don't know if you get down with it, but there are plenty of CBD oils and things that you can take. Awesome.
Yep.
Great.
I'm fine with CBD. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, that's my opinion, to each his own. But for me, I'm like, it's fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah, so helpful. And then the third one is definitely figure out what meds work for you. I knew for years nothing worked except Excedrin migraine. That was it.
Okay.
That's it.
Fair.
And drink a lot of water.
Well, right. Excedrin migraine.
Always.
I don't think I have any here right now, but I wasn't expecting this, which was stupid because I kept feeling like everyone kept saying, "Oh, the second dose you get a headache," but yeah. So anyway,
you're just so special.
That's what I said. I was like, this is who I am as a human. Of course, I'm going to have.
You're just so ahead of it. Of course, you get the symptoms from the second one. With the first one.
100%. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm like, on the way to vaccination, which will open up the world. And, if you don't believe in vaccination, that's fine. Whatever, to each his own. Keep your mean comments to yourself. Like, I don't tell you how to live. You don't tell me how to live. We're all good. But that's me on my soapbox here. It's a perfect segue into what we're going to talk about because, obviously we have all been facing something very unusual in this last year. I don't know if we've been at home and now the world is kind of opening up again. And so
little by little,
which leads me into this amazing conversation, which I am so freaking excited to talk with you about. And that is, the way interesting, and I don't remember exactly how we said it, but just basically like you tend to travel a little bit like me. So,
which is fabulously, is that what you mean?
Fabulously. Yes, fabulously. Mm-hmm. But what I mean by that is, so when I travel, especially with my kids, like I'm a big friggin' nerd. I like make them learn things too. And like I research and I want to seek out like the cool, interesting things. So
check.
Yes. So as we get, go ahead.
I'm on the weird side.
Yeah. Oh,
I like the weird stuff.
Hi. You do know that every city I go to, I'm like, what crime occurred here?
Yes.
Where?
Oh my God. Living history, 100%.
I'm like, where is the murder? What's the spooky story?
Can I sleep in the hotel room where she butchered her parents?
Yeah.
How much is it?
Lizzie Borden. Hi. I'm really upset I missed that in the fall because that was on my list and we had to like emergency leave our fall trip. This episode is sponsored by Skillshare. The online learning community is offering our listeners a free trial of premium membership so you can witness your own transformation as you turn small steps into giant leaps with Skillshare's online classes. There are so many fascinating classes on Skillshare's, including topics such as illustration, design, photography, animation, productivity, and so many more. And I recently took a Skillshare class on iPhone photography, and it changed the way I'm able to capture content with the little amazing camera that's in my pocket. You know, my pictures always look like everyone else's. And just by taking this simple course, I was able to spend a little bit of time learning. And all of a sudden, my iPhone pictures looked like a pro was taking them. And it gave me a little bit of bragging rights in the fam, not going to lie. So with Skillshare, practice makes progress. Advancing toward a goal is achievable with short lessons, hands-on projects, and classes designed for real life. Do something today that you couldn't do yesterday. Skillshare helps you move your creative journey forward without putting your life on hold. Their short classes are the perfect fit for your busy routine, and you'll create real projects and get the support of fellow creatives so you can accomplish real growth. Explore your creativity at Skillshare.com/Christi, where our listeners get a free trial of premium membership. That's 2 weeks free at Skillshare.com/Christi. What are you waiting for? So this is going to be a really fun conversation because a lot of us obviously have not left home in a long time. And as the world is opening up, there may be opportunities for us to kind of, you know, go forth and visit new places or even go into old places, socially distant and all of the things, of course. But so let's talk some like weird, fun travel things because like I said, when you were texting me yesterday about where you're going this summer, where are you going this summer? What's on your summer list?
Okay, so I'm visiting some friends in Detroit, or Detroit, as he calls it.
Detroit.
I'm heading out. Yeah,
I've never heard it referred as Detroit.
Okay, it's a real thing, and they call it that, okay?
Okay.
I'm heading out west to La La Land. I'm going to Los Angeles to visit my fancy brothers. Uncle Hollywood is what my kids call them.
Uncle Hollywood. Pop in and say hi to my little 19-year-old hippie out there.
Will do.
And could you have a mom conversation with her too? Because she doesn't listen to her mom.
How about like a cool aunt conversation?
Sure, great. Love it.
Okay. Don't brand me with that word around your children, please.
That's true. Okay, so then you're going to Boston. Love.
Going to Boston. So what did I say? Boston, Detroit, Los Angeles, and I think that's it. I mean, that's all I told you. I mean, it's the next like 4 months.
Right. But that's quite a bucket list, especially because, like I said, a lot of us haven't been on a plane in forever. So, I mean, and I obviously, well, I guess obviously is not the right word. Like, I like to travel and there's been some cool places. But when you said Detroit, my first question, we'll start there. I'm like, what's in Detroit? And you're like, history. And I'm like, automotive. And then you put me in my place. Okay. So let's talk for a moment. So when you decide that you want to travel, like, how do you decide where you want to go? Clearly these trips are based around people that I'm assuming you haven't seen in a while, right?
Right now, yes, 100%.
Okay.
People say that I don't have them, but I do have emotions. Okay. And these trips are emotionally based.
Okay. I believe that you have emotions.
Thank you.
I believe in you.
I'm an INTJ and have constantly been told, even in my adult life and career as a female INTJ, which
what is
ladies
an
and germs,
INTJ?
Yeah, so it's part of the personality assessment.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And it's a rough one. And women who fall under the INTJ label, the banner, those of us sisters in there are constantly viewed as aggressive, blunt, emotionless. And it's like, no, we just like to get our stuff done. And
is this when you got in trouble at work for like being mean to people?
Yeah. Yes, where one of my work goals was literally, maybe don't make anybody cry.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah,
what's happening?
See, I have a hard time. Like, you're not mean. Like, you have never once been mean. Now, have you said stuff that I'm like, oh, God, okay, thanks. But it's always been very accurate and true. It's just like, you just tell me exactly how I think. You're like, no, that's dumb. And I'm like, okay, thank you for your opinion, bitch. That's dumb.
Which is sometimes what you say. And I'm like, you're welcome. I just saved you from the dumbness.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay. So anyway, so you have emotions, you miss people, you're going. But if you're not visiting someone, how do you decide where to go?
Honestly, I look up weird photo. There are so many great websites, abandoned places, like just Google abandoned places or hidden gems.
Yeah,
and
I do
normally
hidden
the locals,
gems.
well, hidden gems is a good one.
I do hidden gems. I've never done abandoned places.
Well, it's just because like Atlas Obscura, that's a really great website.
Yeah.
Atlas Obscura has so many places. Also, this app that I use called Road Trip. You just drop in a little pin where you're going and boom, all the weird stuff in that area pops up.
Oh, I think you've showed me this. I honestly have. Okay, so those are great. I have not used Road Trip, and not obviously. Like, I do know Atlas Obscura. So abandoned places. Like, for me, I think that when I'm deciding to travel somewhere, I think a lot of it's history-based. I'm like, okay, where is it going? What's cool? What do I know? Like, I guess I start with, what do I think about this place when I think about it? Like, what's the stereotype of it? For instance, like, Charleston, I think of, like, obviously, the old South and
carriage rides
and the big houses that are on Battery Park? I believe that is it Battery Park?
I feel like Battery Park is in New York, but what do I know?
Oh, it is Battery. No, what's the place on the? You're right, it is in New York. Fuck you. What's the place? Not Battery Park. I can't think of it. It's on the tip of my tongue. Charleston,
it'll come to you.
Old houses.
Oh, you're Googling it?
I am.
How unfair.
I know.
I can hear you typing.
I know.
I mean, I think of the places too, and I try to, honestly, make sure there's enough for me to do there, because I am not, I'm not a relaxing traveler. Like, that's a separate type of vacation. Normally, if I'm in a place that I can't get to easily a second time, I want to make the most of it, like,
agreed.
We went to Iceland, and
yes, you were telling me this.
Tell you,
go.
Pinterest sold me on Iceland, and Pinterest sold me a lie. Okay, because I went to that Blue Lagoon, and you know what? It's not great. First of all,
well, you told me there are people having sex next to you.
Yes, they funnel you in like cattle, slap a bracelet on you, push you through the drop off your clothes, right? Push you into the lagoon. You swim around with literally 300 other people. And I didn't wear my glasses because, I didn't want them to get mineral watered and like rusted. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like swimming around trying to find my friends, and I see my friends maybe 15 feet away kind of dancing, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll go over there. The closer I get, the quicker I realize that's not them. Oh. And those people are totally doing it in the water. And I'm like, whoa, turn around. That ain't right.
I mean, so I would have like, do you ever get pee shy?
No, hell no.
You don't get pee shy?
Kidding.
I get pee shy. I can't imagine
when I gotta go.
Right. But if somebody's staring at me, I'm like, can you please not look at me? Like, I go in the bathroom, my cat looks at me. I'm like, hi, no, go away. So I can't imagine like
eye contact.
You don't break eye contact?
If someone is staring at me while I'm peeing, I just stare back.
But see, that's your personality disorder or whatever we're calling it.
Disorder.
That's the word. Yeah. Okay, ladies. Who walks into their house and the very first thing they do is take off their bra? Anyone? Yeah, of course. It's all of us, right? Because historically, bras are torture devices, right? They're terrible. Except no longer, because I'm about to share with you a little secret, because I love to be the one of all of my friends who's always like, I found the best thing. And since we're all friends here, we're all hanging out on the couch, I found the best thing. So what if I told you that I found a bra that was designed for your perfect fit, like you, yourself, your perfect fit, was comfy and cute. Cute. Yes. Do I have your attention? Well, good, because let me introduce you to Third Love. So Third Love actually uses the measurements of millions of women to design bras with all-day comfort and support. And they offer our perfect fit promise because they stand behind their product. So if you don't love your new bra, you can exchange or return it for free for up to 60 days. And they have more than 80 sizes available. Every Third Love bra is made with signature memory foam cups, no slip straps, and a scratch-free band. And the cups range from AA to I, had no idea, and they have half cup sizes, which, hi, yours truly, half cup, never knew it. And the bands range from 30 to 48. So what you do is you take this fitting room quiz, and it really tells you that like 80% of all women wear the wrong bra size, which that's insane to think about. But the fitting room quiz, it's really actually super fun, and it's really easy because it's interactive. It's a really fun experience that focuses on your size, your breast shape. I never realized how many different breast shapes there were, your current fit issues, and what your personal style is. And they deliver bras and underwear that are perfect for you. And throughout the whole thing, there are fit stylists that are available for one-on-one chats to answer any of your questions. And the best part about it is you do all of this from the comfort and convenience of your own home. And again, like I said, if you don't love it, you can exchange it and return it. And that is totally free up to 60 days. So it's time to break up with your bad bra and fall in love with better bras and underwear. And Third Love is changing the game when it comes to comfort and style for all of your everyday essentials. They have loungewear, wireless styles, to their #1 rated 24/7 classic t-shirt bra. They're creating the ultimate shopping experience. Plus, they kind of give back because they donate all of their gently used return bras to women in need, supporting charities in the local San Francisco Bay Area and across the U.S. So what are you waiting for? Third Love knows your one true fit is out there. So right now they're offering my listeners 20% off your first order. So go to thirdlove.com/couch now to find your perfect fitting bra and get 20% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/couch for 20% off today. So anyway, so you were sold on Blue Lagoon, and it turned out to be the Lagoon of Ill Repute.
Oh, yeah. I would say that's something that I definitely do, is look up the popular thing and try to find another version of it. Because I don't know if you've been to Iceland. There are so many thermal spas, Christy, and some of them are naturally outside, like they're just happening. They exist. So there are people who on Atlas Obscura, for example, will pin at this location, there's a thermal spa, like park your car, get naked, and, hop in the little pool there for an hour. And that's way better than paying the $90 to be with 400 other people.
Who are having sex in front of you.
Yeah, and not on your terms.
Right.
Like, if I wanted to pay for a sex show, I'd go do that.
Right.
That's not why. That's what you go to Paris for.
Oh, you mean the Moulin Rouge?
No, I mean like an actual sex show.
Oh,
you took your daughter to the Moulin Rouge.
I took both of my daughters to the Moulin Rouge. And what was funny about it is Chloe was 13 and Clara was 4. And it's a topless show, which, look, here, it is the Battery District, you brat. The Battery Promenade. Okay, thank you. So it's not Battery Park. It's Battery
Props to you. You know
District.
What? It's not the first or last time I will be wrong, and I am woman enough to accept that.
Fine. Okay, great. I just like being right. I knew it was Battery. Okay, so back to the Moulin Rouge and the topless dancers. So, well, number one, when we got there, it was 500 degrees because it was the middle of July. My husband was wearing shorts. Well, guess what? Paris is very strict about dress policy. So they were like, you need to go buy pants. Go ahead, what?
Asterisk for all you travelers out there. Old world countries do not often have air conditioning.
No.
So plan accordingly. And I mean like hotels, those old buildings do not get retrofitted with AC.
Oh, yeah, no. Oh, my God.
Plan accordingly.
Oh, this one hotel we stayed in England literally smelled like cabbage soup. And it was so hot that we wanted to... No, it wasn't a good cabbage soup.
The traditional English smell.
Yes.
What an experience.
It was bad. But anyway, so when we were at the Moulin Rouge, Mark had to go find pants down the street at they didn't sell pants. It was like in the scandalous district of Paris. And they were like...
Montmartre.
They were like,
something like that.
Go in the back. And he's like...
Oh, God.
It was very... Whatever. So he came back with polyester pants that were way too short. It was just tragic. But then when we were sitting in the Moulin Rouge... which, you know, like Chloe was a performer and a dancer. And I was like, this is Paris culture. We need to see it. And we've all seen the Nicole Kidman movie.
Very famous. Yeah.
Very famous. And it was very topless. And then I was like, oh, we're cultured.
Which is very normal for Europeans.
Right. And I was just thinking like, oh, my kids are cultured enough. They won't think anything of it. But I forgot that Chloe was 13 sitting next to her dad. And so she was like humiliated, embarrassed. And then Clara was sitting there and she looks at me and she goes, Mom, or Mama, because she was still little. She was like, I'm not even looking at their boobs. She said, all I'm looking at are all the rhinestones. And I'm like, thank you, Clara. Like, so mother of the year. So
100%. Yes. I mean, but that's the thing is you have to expose. You have to allow your kids to experience this stuff. And if you are blessed enough to be able to do it, like go for it.
Yeah, I honestly don't think there was anything wrong about me taking my kids there. Other people will clearly disagree. But you know what? It's culture. Look, they have seen boobs. Like, we are a naked home in a lot of ways. So
same.
I've walked around plenty of times without my top on and nobody looks twice about it. So who cares? Okay.
Same. And I'm like, you guys, come on, get a little attention, please.
Yeah. Yeah.
I paid for these. Okay, give me some love.
Same. I paid for mine. Same. Okay. So, I mean, so you just kind of think like, where do I want to go? Where is there enough stuff to do? I mean, I feel like that's the same. I guess for me, it's more like, where are all those places I dreamt about going when I was little and I would read a book and like I had these fantastical, grandiose ideas of places, you know, just that kind of a thing. And I always look at where we're near, if we're somewhere for work or business. And then I'm like, okay, what's close? What can we see? And then that's kind of like what starts it for me. So it sounds similar.
Yeah, I think also I'll look for photo ops because in the same way that I look at weddings, like the last thing you're leaving with, the only thing you're taking with you are those photos.
I want to make it very clear when you say like, what are the photo ops? Let's be very clear because I think a lot of people look at things as photo ops. You are not looking at things as photo ops for social media. I have never met someone who works in social media who despises social media for themselves as much as you do. So, like, let's be very clear. When you say photo ops, you're not like, what's the Instagram pic? Like, that's not what you're doing. For sure.
No, I'm basically looking for a memory that can live out in the open. So, for example, like I said before, the last thing that you take with you, the only thing you're taking with you are those photos. Yeah. Because even memories fade. So I'll try to find simple, easy things like, everybody loves ice cream, right? So when we go on vacation, we're going to get a sweet. We're going to get an ice cream. And we're going to get it from, say, a specific shop. The shop in Paris that I love, I don't remember the name of it, but they sell ice cream in the shape of a rosette, in the shape of a rose. I think it's called a coronet or a coronetto. And so I made a point to seek out that shop. And on the day we were getting ice cream, get it from there. And the photo that we have of us eating our little ice creams, you know, which cost like $3 each, is on the wall in our house. So it's just a great way to document and memorialize those memories in a better way that's, you know, living outside of your brain, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Well, if the world opens back up and I can go back to Europe this summer, I will be going to Paris. So I'll have to get a Coronetto.
Get it. Okay. Number 2. While I was in Iceland, I booked a Viking photo shoot.
Get out. Shut your mouth. Like, were you dressed like a Viking?
Yes.
Shut
and it was,
up. Why? Why?
I should send you the photos because I was like, we were in Iceland. Nobody, maybe you would understand this. We were driving on this road. Iceland, by the way, has only like 3 roads.
That's kind of like Australia. You have to fly in between places on Australia. Even though the country's like the same size as the U.S., you can't really drive from, say, like Pittsburgh to Florida. There is nothing in between. You have to literally fly.
Right. Same with Iceland. So we're taking the one big, you know, highway that goes literally just around the whole country. And I'm looking at a distance and they have these giant, you know, mountains and things. And because things don't change that quickly in that area over so long of a time, I made us pull over and I was like, you guys, this is the exact same view that Vikings would have had when they were here. We're looking like it hasn't changed. It's the exact same thing. And they were like, can we get in the car? Fucking cold. And I was like, okay, you don't get it. You don't get it. It's fine.
Just so you know, that conversation has happened in my house about 7 billion times. Nobody appreciates my fun facts.
Are they fun though?
Well, they are fun because anywhere I'm going, I read a ton about where we're going, and then I become like the storyteller along the way.
Oh, yes. Okay. You got to pick and choose those moments though.
I know, but you know what? I feel like if I raise them, if I birth them and I have stretch marks from them, they have to listen. That's kind of that's my trade-off. That's how I feel. So those two have to listen, but I do become the storyteller, but I try to make sure everything is done in like a fun way, you know, in like an interesting way. And I'm like, you guys, listen, isn't this the coolest? And then they don't have to read the book.
So that's why I thought a Viking photo shoot. I was like, I want to experience this. And at the time I was also really into Game of Thrones. So I really wanted to wear the pelts and the jewelry and I wanted to hoist a bow and arrow.
Says the woman who dressed as Moira Rose for her birthday party. I get that you have this whole cosplay thing happening.
Yeah. I definitely do. I love a good costume. So I went and when I walked in, it was just some guy's little studio. And when I checked in, he pressed play on a little like CD player and the theme from Lord of the Rings started playing really loudly. And I was like, oh yeah, this is a mood. I'm here. And he dressed me up. I will send you the photos. He dressed me up and he put headgear on me and weapons and stuff. And we took some badass photos.
And you love them.
Yes. And it was the best, like $80 I ever spent.
All right. I mean, look, to each his own. I don't know if I would love that. Although something tells me if it wasn't Vikings, if it was like, dress me up as, I don't know, whatever, like Coco Chanel in Paris, I'd be like, ooh, okay. You know, like I would love that. I don't know. Because I'm not a Game of Thrones fan. Don't come at me. So
that's fine.
I don't appreciate the Viking-esque of it, but I do appreciate the experience, if you will. So I love that.
It was super fun. I would say that was an unexpected thing that I didn't know I needed and really enjoyed doing. And another thing was, for all of you people out there that have connections, use them. When I was in LA, I reached out to a friend who works for The Simpsons. And I was
I remember this story. This is great.
And I just wanted, like, is there a little tour that you can give us? Or is there a mural on the 20th Century Lot that I can just take a photo in front of, Simpsons mural? And he was like, well, there's actually a table reading that's open to people if you want. And it's just the writers and the cast that just read through an episode. And holy crap.
Right,
I did not know.
Because you're a stan. Like, you're a Simpsons stan.
Oh, 100%. Yes. So I went and it was amazing and it was totally free.
See, that's amazing. Like those little hidden gems are amazing. So do a little digging. So if you're like a fan of something like The Simpsons, would somebody be able to find that online? Because you said it's open to the public.
Yeah, I think you can find it online.
Yeah. So like, that's what I mean. Get creative. Like if you're going somewhere like that and you're like, okay, I'm going to be in LA. Like, what's my favorite show? You'd be amazed at how often you can get tickets to go see a show, like being filmed if it's still in production or even just driving by. I mean, there's obviously always the studio backlot tours and those type of things, but so often you would be amazed at what you can find that isn't like on the tour, so to speak. That's another thing with traveling. I always say, like, for instance, and I don't know why I keep going back to Charleston. Maybe I want to talk about Charleston. Who knows? Apparently. But when we were there a couple of summers ago, I was like, what is Charleston known for? Well, obviously, like I said, we talked about like the Old South and history and all of that. But obviously, there was a part of Charleston that The Notebook was filmed in. Like a big part of The Notebook was filmed in Charleston. So we actually went to, the part in the rowboat. It was Cypress Gardens.
Yes.
We went there and we did a rowboat tour through the swamp. It was one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. And like anybody can do it. I think it was $10 maybe. I don't know. But we rode the swamp and it was gorgeous and there were alligators and like, it was really just cool. But I think because that moment's so iconic in the movie, like we lived our own version of it. Plus that was also the place that there was that epic scene from The Patriot that was shot there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love movie moments.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
I mean, I do too.
I always, every time I go to Boston, which is where my family's from.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do, and if you've never done it, please do it, is to walk the Freedom Trail.
Yeah, we just did that.
Long. Oh, it's so fun.
It is
to
fun.
Stand on the spot where, he looked at the North Church, at the old North Church to see if the lanterns were one if by land, two if by sea. And then there's that really old cemetery.
Yes.
And you can go and, and like there's
that really old Quiznos.
Oh my God.
Did you know that Quiznos is on this, like the building is now a Quiznos and you stand there and you're like, look at this ancient Quiznos.
Yes.
Or not ancient, but revolutionary Quiznos.
They've given it like a plaque too.
They did.
Like right. So I love Boston. But what I was going to say was the victims of the Boston Massacre.
Yes.
You can go to their gravesite. And one of them was a young black gentleman. What was his name? Crispus Attucks. And you can go and like read all about him. It's really cool. I love that type of thing.
Me too. And that's the kind of stuff like I think it's important that my kids know. And that's why I feel like they're a little bit more sensitive to things because I don't know. Like, I think that's important that they learn things. And again, if you are lucky enough to be able to go and experience these things, like to me, that makes such a greater impact on us than reading anything in a book,
True.
Like for sure.
Can I mention one thing? Because you touched on tours. I used to be so against tours. And then I finally started to accept a tour. And there's a right way to do it. You got to do it. If you're doing a tour, you got to do a tour at the very beginning of your trip because those tour guides will give you so many, not only tips and tricks, but behind the scenes. Like, oh, if you go here after 5 p.m., they do this thing. If you go there on Tuesday, they'll do whatever.
Yeah.
I used to do tours and I would do them at the end of my trip and then would be really mad because these amazing tour guides, like if you do the bus tour or if you're in Savannah and you do the trolley tour, they would drop all these wonderful gems and, we're leaving tomorrow, so I guess we missed out on all this cool stuff.
Yeah,
I'd be really upset.
That's actually a really good tip. Do you hear like a cracking noise or is that me?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, so totally, that is a really good point. I mean, we have done tours. Like we've definitely done tours, but that's not typically... I don't want to say, do we do them typically? I feel like we do like maybe one, and I guess it is a good tip to do it at the beginning for sure, because you definitely learn like interesting things. But for the most part, I feel like we seek out what we want to do and then we kind of like go and experience it and do it. And Instagram's a great place to go. Like if you're traveling somewhere, just like go to a location search or a hashtag search and start to see like different places that people have tagged. That's how I find everywhere I want to eat, like where is it popular? Where are people talking?
There are so many common sense hashtags too that people forget about. Like in your own hometown, if you go to a great restaurant, you will probably be really, I don't know, excited or you'll be like, oh, hashtag I love Orlando. So I usually look for a hashtag I love Detroit. And it's usually local people bragging about, cool stuff that they found in their own city.
Oh, that's a good tip. I never thought to do hashtag I love Pittsburgh, but sure. I mean, why not? That is common sense for sure.
Right?
Yeah. So then, so this is, I definitely want to ask you. So you're going to Detroit, and at first I was mocking you. I'm like, automotive history. And then you told me something that's like so fascinating. And now I have Detroit on my list because I need to go just because of the one little thing you told me. Would you like to share with the class?
Okay, so I told you a few things. The first one was that Henry Ford that's the one. Okay. He had a thing for the macabre and specifically tied to history, which speaks to me on so many levels. I don't know if you remember, there was a website when I was in, middle school or high school called Ogrish, OGRISH.com, and another one called Rotten.com. And they would post.
Oh, I know Rotten.
Yeah, so they were, this is when I was trying to figure out, like, am I just weird? Like, why do I like murders and serial killers? And why do these stories, intrigue me? And now we've got murderinos left and right.
Right.
Like,
everybody's
okay, so
like, I'm
thing.
so weird. And I'm like, no, bitch, I was way weirder. I was reading this stuff under my covers, like when I was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Like thinking, am I going to kill my family with an axe? Oh, wait, no.
Yeah, right? I was worried for a minute. There were a few years that I was like, what's wrong with me? Turns out I just have interests.
Right.
So Henry Ford and I have something in common. He collected memorabilia specific to these very macabre moments in history. So for example, he's got this museum where he has like the convertible, the car that JFK was shot in.
I cannot believe he has that.
Yeah.
I've never even thought about that.
Lincoln was shot in. Right. So you can go and look at all these weird things that he's collected over the years. And I want to see that.
Yeah, that's so in my wheelhouse. I mean, I have been actively following where Ted Bundy's VW is forever. It was in the Crime Museum in Washington, but that closed. And now it's in like a private collector's museum that's like murderous things. But I've never thought about the convertible. Like, I cannot believe he owns that convertible. So wait, do you know the story about Jackie's hat?
No.
Okay, let me just tell you.
Her little pillbox hat, the pink one?
Yep. This is like such an interesting, I got this from a book because that's what I do. Like if I find a subject, because one day you can come back on and we can talk about murders and conspiracies and things because again, we have that in common. But if I go down a rabbit hole and I'm very specifically interested in one thing, I become fixated on it and learn everything I can about that particular thing. So I was reading all about JFK's assassination, and I think I was like on a Jackie kick too. So what was interesting was when she went to the hospital, she had her hat in her hands, like after she crawled out of the back of the car, and she had the hat in her hands, and obviously her dress was covered in blood, we all know, and she handed her hat to someone in the hospital, and it's never been located again. And so the suit is now in the basement, like in the archives of the Smithsonian. And it's like, in one of the preserved areas that it won't age. And I think her wishes were it was specifically never to be on display, while her children or maybe even grandchildren were alive too, because she never wanted them to see it. But I guess after I'm making this up, like the year 2050 or something, like then it's allowed to be displayed. But the hat has never been located. So there's all this speculation that there's like someone's grandma or something has Jackie's iconic pink hat like in her attic or something somewhere. So somebody has that hat.
Oh, man.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. That is insane. I wonder if even worse than that is if it's floating around in the black market somewhere, like having been sold to private collectors.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be. I forgot about that.
I just watched that documentary about the Isabella Gardner Museum heist. Oh, I was like, oh my God. That stuff. I was like, what do you do with the painting? How do you sell a painting?
Yeah,
right, because you can't do anything. Right.
Yeah,
and where do you even go? Like, hey, I have this painting. Do you guys know where, like, I guess you go on the dark web, which I don't even know how to get there. Like, what do you type in?
Yeah, don't go to the dark web. I feel like if you got to the dark web, like that would be a deep, dark hole that you would never get out of. You, personally.
Okay, speaking of deep, dark holes and being obsessed with things, I decided that I was going to watch a classic movie film. Okay. And I watched Hello, Dolly, starring the incomparable Barbra Streisand.
I was just going to say, Babs.
Yes, Miss Babs. And I was like, what happened to these people? And you're going to love this. I mean, tragic, but you're going to love this. So there's basically 4 actors in the movie. There's Barbara, there's some chick, and then there's these 2 guys that follow them around. Okay. And these 2 guys are actually in the clips of, that Pixar movie WALL-E? Yeah. The clips that he's always watching. So they're the 2 guys singing. Oh. And yeah, I was like, what happened to these 2 guys? One of them had a very lengthy, moderately successful career. And the other one was stabbed to death at the age of 34. He was stabbed 100 times in his home.
Oh my God.
So his name is Danny Locken, Lockin. And apparently back in I guess it was the mid 70s, he was one of those, Hollywood actors who wasn't out yet, but was gay and at night going to discreet gay bars and meeting, hooking up. And he took a gentleman home with him, and that guy straight up stabbed him 100 times.
Oh my God. That's such a, like, I was just listening to a podcast. They were talking about Paris is burning, and that's just such a common thing. Like these.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's so tragic. Ugh.
It's
these guys who hook up with someone and then, are you FaceTiming me?
Oh, am I? I'm sorry. And I did text you my Viking photos though. So if you want to look at those, I will look. Get off.
And then they will take somebody home, like somebody will go home with a homosexual and they end up engaging in an act, and then they're ashamed and they end up killing that person. It's terrible. Like it's happened a bazillion times. So that is a tragedy. I remember Hello Dolly growing up because my grandma was the biggest Barbara fan. Like Barbara.
I'd never seen it. So I was like, I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it.
I can't remember it, but I remember it, if that makes sense.
Yes. I have to say, in the portion of things V and Christy watch, but remember and don't remember, a lot of it was forgetful.
Right. I feel like a lot of times those old movies are, but I mean, like, we love an Esther Williams moment. I do, like the bathing suits and the synchronized swimming and all of that. That was memorable. Are you still here? Hello? Okay, now you're there. All right, and begin.
Oh, here we are. I was saying, so in the world of things Christy and V watch and are forgetful, Hello Dolly doesn't really stand up. There were a few key gems in the movie, but yeah, if it came out today, it would be like a total dud. However, I have seen Singing in the Rain, starring Carrie Fisher's mom, and that movie still holds up. If that movie came out today,
Carrie Fisher's mom. That is the legendary Debbie Reynolds. Thank you. I almost said Debbie Allen. I was like all confused for a minute. Debbie Reynolds, give her her due. She's due. I just read this really funny tweet where someone was saying, "You've seen Postcards from the Edge, right?" Carrie Fisher wrote that movie, and it's basically about this like tumultuous relationship between a mother and daughter and like just their dysfunction and one-upping each other. And it's supposedly based on Debbie Reynolds and Carrie Fisher's life. And that was the ultimate moment of one-uppance when Carrie Fisher died and then Debbie Reynolds had to die the next day. Like that was such a Postcards from the Edge moment, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like that's kind of funny to think about, right? I have not watched, was it Bright Lights on HBO? I haven't watched it, but I will. Like the documentary about the two of them?
Yeah. I gotta be in a mood. People are still sending me like that Robin Williams documentary, and I'm like, I can't. I gotta be in a... I can't.
That was wild. Like I did watch that. It was really good, and it was really sad, and it was really crazy to see like how many people he just came up with in Hollywood, so to speak, like his circle, and like they were all like Christopher Reeves is his kid's godfather, and you're
they were college roommates.
Right. But like, you don't think of Robin Williams and Christopher Reeves. You think of like Robin Williams and like Jim Belushi or John Belushi.
Sure, yeah. Who he was like the last person he saw before Jim Belushi OD'd.
Yeah.
He and Robert De Niro, which is another thing. You wouldn't imagine like Robert De Niro hanging out with Robin Williams, but apparently they were really good, close friends.
And P.S., that's another thing is that everyone who knew them all thought it was going to be Carrie Fisher who would OD before any of them.
Jesus.
Yeah. So
that's a weird superlative. That's a weird most likely to.
So here we are. We were talking about travel, and we went down to our weird like.
We traveled down our own black hole. No, wait. Let's rephrase that.
Yeah.
We traveled on a different path.
Yes, we discussed what was interesting to us. So basically, I guess the gist of this is when you do travel, just seek out those interesting stories. Do a little searching online before you go. Dig around on Instagram. A couple quick searches like hidden gems, like look on TripAdvisor. Lots of people are willing to share their stories, but I always go kind of, like I said, for the macabre side of things because that's usually where the good stories are and like the weirdness. But there's so many cool things. Like there was one time again, I keep going back to Charleston. So this is obviously saying something. Mark and Chloe were going to a haunted jail tour, and Clara was too young to go. And honestly, I wouldn't have wanted to take her just because it had a lot of reviews. It wasn't like, this is funny. It was like, no, this is kind of scary. So she and I had the late afternoon, early evening to kind of spend. So I found this really cool, it was almost like all these old iron gates. Charleston's known for all these old iron gates. And it was like just this little, almost like a treasure map. And it had like, go through the cemetery and walk 15 steps and turn left. And then you're at this gate. And it like took you on this little historical walk. And you saw really cool things, but it was all around this architecture. But you saw cool things along the way. And then we had to like check off when we found all the gates. And it was just something little that we did that was totally free, but then we were walking through really cool things and we were talking, and just there's so many interesting things like that out there that I think if you step off of like I said, all like where all the tourists hang, you're going to find some really interesting places.
I think trying to twist your vision of those regular touristy things is also fun too. So for example, I wanted to do something with Jack the Ripper.
Oh.
But in London, there's a lot of like super touristy things.
Right.
And we opted for a Jack the Ripper tour, which happens at like 11 p.m. at night. And you basically just walk the few blocks radius, like that blocks neighborhood where all of those murders happened. And it's all done in character. And it was really freaking cool.
I would love that. That's so...
Like I've done that tour 2 or 3 times.
Well, what's interesting... So Chloe, like we all have... Who's your serial killer boyfriend?
Oh my God. In what order do you want them?
Well, I want who's your like, just tell me whoever. Give me a couple. Who's your serial killer boyfriend?
Albert Fish.
Oh, he's scary. He's old. He's old school.
Well, that's why he's so like between him and H.H. Holmes, I would say, because he was old and he was I have problems.
Well, wait, you do know that Leonardo DiCaprio has optioned that story, right? Devil in the White City.
A Devil in the White City, yeah. I'm really excited about that.
Yep. So that'll be cool if that happens. But okay, so interesting. Well, Chloe's serial killer boyfriend is Jack the Ripper. So if we do end up back in London, I will have to do that tour with her. She would freaking love that so much. Have you ever done the catacombs in Paris?
Yes,
I have. I have not.
It's awesome, but it's really long because it's a kind of a long stretch that you walk through, and you basically see it in the first, 10 minutes, and you're like, okay, so it's just a lot of this. But what's cool when we were down there is, number one, it's a really great way to break from the heat because it's really cold down there, but it's also really moist down there.
Ew.
The walls are like sweating, which...
Ew.
Yeah, it can be a little off-putting, but it is a nice
I'm not
break
into a
from
moist
the
wall.
cold.
I'm just saying. I don't like moisture in general. Although I do like humidity.
Yeah, but I've done it. I tried to get Genevieve when we went to do it. She was scared, and I was like, it's not scary. It's literally a pile of bones, but she wasn't having it. But yes, I have been, and it's definitely a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I would recommend it.
Well, I'm thinking about it. That's funny that she said no. There was this, we were in York, and there was again like a weird jail tour or something that Chloe was doing with my husband. And Claire and I were like, we're going to skip this. So we went down to just next to the river. And I, of course, was eating my 5 billionth fish and chips. And we were sitting there, and this couple comes up to us. They're like, I don't know, in their 50s, maybe 60s. And they're like, oh, can we sit with you? Because we had 2 extra seats at our table. And I was like, oh, that's a little weird. Sure. But I mean, that's very European, whatever. And so they sat and they were chatting. They were lovely. But then the guy started eating from my plate. And I was like, okay, this is too much for me. Like, I cannot. So there are boundaries that sometimes I was like, I wanted that bite of chip. Thank you. It's very odd. Very odd.
Somewhere in York, there's a man telling a story, and he was like, and I just started eating off a plate.
I think so. I do
So
believe.
it's 7:00.
Yes.
I know.
So I know
you have a thing.
I do have a thing. Well, thank you so much. This was so fun. I could talk about travel and weird, macabre, and fun Hollywood stories all day. So we'll do this again. Thank you for coming on the couch. I appreciate having you.
You're welcome.
All right.
It's such a comfy couch.
I know, and it's cute too, right? Don't put
So
your feet on it. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, V.
Bye.
Okay, so that episode, or that interview, I should say, totally got away from me because I could have talked to V. Like, I had so many more notes of things I wanted to talk to her about just because I get so excited, and I want to tell these stories and talk about these things. And I just think that she and I have such a natural conversation about this kind of stuff. So I hope that that was fun and entertaining and interesting, and you maybe learn some tips or tricks that will help you. But I want to know, like, where are you going as soon as you can go out into the world safely? Like, where's your dream place? Apparently I'm dying to go back to Charleston, but I'd also love to go to, I'm dying to go to Europe. I really am, but I think Europe might be a little ways off yet. But, maybe I want to go to Detroit. I would love that Henry Ford Museum. Hi. So I think that was a really fun conversation. And I love the idea of she and I doing like a one-up episode. Like, can you top this? Did you know that? Because I think that's fun. And I think that, look, we can all use a fun party fact, to take to our next party and wow the masses with our stories and intel and knowledge, right? So if V and I can contribute to that, then it's a good one. All right. Well, I did not get any questions for Christi's Couch this week, so I don't have anything to offer as far as, some juicy intel or insights or, words of wisdom from a mom. But I will say that in light of a lot of people jumping in and saying that you are going to be graduating from college soon, I just wanted to leave you with a quick thought. Okay. Graduating from college is really an exciting time. I know it can feel overwhelming because you're faced with a lot of really big questions, but here's what I want you to know. Go for things. Like, if you want to go move to a new place, move there. If it doesn't work out, who cares? Move back home. Like, try new things. You are never going to be in a situation ever again in your life where you are as free as when you first graduate from college. So take advantage of it. Try some new things. Be brave. And if you're not brave, it's okay. You can always go home. And I promise you, nothing that you do will screw up the rest of your life if you do make a mistake. It's all a learning experience. So take that away, use that and just enjoy this point of your life, because I'm jealous. Not only am I jealous of your freedom, I'm jealous of your skin. Like, I want my 22-year-old skin back. But I just wanted to kind of put that out there because I know a lot of you listening are a little bit on the younger side. So I am sending you all of the mom pixie dust. Get out there and live your life, guys. Okay, so that's about it for me this week. I will see you back next week on the couch. Make sure you check out Instagram, follow along, do all of the things, and don't do anything that I wouldn't do. Bye.
If you want to be the most interesting person at the cocktail party, well, hop on over and listen to the Brain Candy podcast.
Our award-winning content will have you laughing while you're learning.
We read all the best articles, books, and studies and keep up with new TV shows, documentaries, and pop culture. And then we cram it all into 2 shows a week.
Conspiracy theories, cannibal rabbits, unsolved mysteries, the history of the Walkman. There's something for everyone.
The Brain Candy podcast. Find our link in the show notes.
Or simply search for the Brain Candy podcast on your podcast app.